Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the YouTube channel God Will Do It For You. My name is Steven, and I hope everyone's having a great day so far. We're also praying for those that are going through these storms, just hoping everybody's all right and their families be all right and get past this particular time in life. But what we're going to be talking about today is I'm just going to be talking about my experience walking with God thus far. And wholeheartedly, I've been walking with God for about getting close to 4 years. And what I've learned and how he's transformed me as a person is really what I'm going to be talking about today. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm just going to talk. But ever since it all started with me making that leap of faith, sacrificing everything to get my son, and I know I talk about it a lot because that's where it starts. That was the first time that I knew that God was real. You know, we can always say we believe in God and yeah, there must be a God and we go to church and this and that. But what I've learned is you learn that God is real by walking with him. And at that point, he will give you an experience or an encounter with him that only God could do. And you'll then at that point say, that was God. There's no other way, because, you know, once I had took that leap of faith, I sacrificed everything. I got my son better education-wise, and then I won custody of my son. And I'm a black man, young. I had no job, and I got my son in about 3 minutes. It was really quick. That was nothing but God. And since then, I realized that God moves when you act on faith, believing in him. That is one of the main things that I've noticed with God while I've been walking with him, is that he allows you to experience him when you act in faith, knowing that he will take care of the issue or whatever the situation is. And you just go about it not understanding how it's going to happen, how it's going to work, but you're like, I'm believing that there is a God and that somehow, some way, this is all going to work out for me. So when we think about that, just think about Abraham and his son, you know, the son that he'd been praying for, he's been waiting for. God finally gave it to him, the promised child, and then now God wants him to sacrifice him at the top of a mountain. Abraham moved in faith. Abraham was under the assumption that somehow God was just going to bring him back to life. So I'm going to do exactly what God said, and I'm going to be obedient, but I'm going to do this because I have faith that God will somehow, some way, not just give me this just to take it away. See, God wants to make sure that we believe in him and hold him first with everything, even for the things that we've promised and that he's promised us that he would give. He wants to make sure that no matter what, he will come first. Yeah, excuse me, my nose is itching all of a sudden. But he wants to make sure that nothing comes before him, even the things that we love more than anything. So let's say you've been praying and hoping that your business would work out, or you've been praying and hoping for a marriage, and now all of a sudden you got it. God's going to test you to make sure that he is first no matter what. And plus, if you're a man, a good woman wants God to be the head of the household. They want to make sure that you're being guided and you're following God. A good woman is going to make sure of that, I promise you. As a woman, you'll know the signs. I'm not sure exactly what God does for y'all because I'm not that, but I just know that you'll know exactly what God needs you to look for in a man, a good godly man, based off of the way he carries himself, his actions that match up with his words, and just how he lives his life according to how God has that man structured. And one thing, like I said, just the things that I've noticed while walking with God is he will use unfavorable circumstances to prove to you that he can make it favorable for you. That's just how it goes. I'm telling you that he will use unfavorable circumstances and give you favor and make the circumstance favorable for you. At that point, you get to experience God in a way that shuts the naysayers up around you, or has their jaw drop, and you get the encounter with God, which increases your faith in the relationship with him. At that point, your life gets to continue to go up. And so what I've learned is, while life hasn't just went straight up like an escalator, it's been doing this within my spirit and my faith and just the walk that I'm trying to acquire. Like I said, when God had asked me to stop doing music, which was really odd, I was obedient to it, but I stopped. I didn't realize that when I did that, how bad that hurt me, and that God was actually trying to help the music. I didn't realize it at the time. I was just like, why would he have me stop this and say focus on the food business? I started drinking because of that, and just dealing with the pain and the emotional hurt of being confused as to why he would tell me to stop something I've been working on for 5.5 years at that time, and I was really good at it. Little did I know that he wanted me to stop it and focus on the food business. During that time, he knew that I would make an unintentional mistake, which would cause me to hurt somebody, which that person then betrayed me and left me hanging. But then bam, that brought about extremely positive change. I did not know that at the time that would bring about the change of me stopping to smoke, because I used to smoke weed, and that would also clear my drinking problem, because that person leaving got me to my knees and to say, hey God, change me in a way that I need to be. Little did I know, come the end of that year, which was last year, that all the year that I had to stop doing music, I ended up being even better when I stopped, because I could hear better. I did not know that the marijuana actually affected your hearing, which slowed down my progress working, because I was doing more work because I could not hear properly. So God was trying to help me. At the time, I was confused and upset and coping with it with drinking, not realizing that God was like, you don't realize that you're being counterproductive. So again, God will use an unfortunate circumstance, which the person just kind of like they're trying to sabotage me, but he'll use that unfavorable circumstance to bring about change. Again, the story of Joseph, how his brothers tried to sabotage him because of the dreams and the visions that he had, and he thought that he could share that with them, trusting them, not knowing that they were going to try to sabotage him. But joke was on them that he ended up being the help that they were going to need come years later, and in a high enough position that he brought them out of it to keep them from perishing, because they didn't have no food. It's just interesting with the walk with God, and how even just certain situations, and how he will allow it to happen to bless you and have you come out on top. And the one thing I've learned, when God is getting ready to bless you, and like I've said it in one of my videos before, you shut up. You keep your mouth shut. I know your initial reaction, you'll want to tell somebody. Well, for me, the one person that I know I can trust that will keep their mouth shut is my dad. I guess I get it from him, because he don't talk to nobody about anything personal. He knows that he just shuts his mouth. And thankfully I have that person, but otherwise anybody else, they like to talk. So it'd be just stupid for me to trust them with any information that I don't expect to get spread. Again, when God is getting ready to turn your situation around and bless you, and you can see it coming, you keep your mouth shut. Because again, God will bring about an unfavorable circumstance, make it favorable for you, and believe it or not, people will get envious. And the crazy thing is, they will get envious even though they won't be willing to go through the same thing that you went through to get the favor. Isn't that interesting? People just want the blessings from God. That's why a lot of people think of God in this genie mindset of, hey, I be good, he's gonna bless me with good stuff. Yes, correct. If you sow good seeds, you shall reap what you sow. But just because you be good doesn't mean that God's just going to automatically do something for you. He's going to test you. He's going to test you first. He's going to allow some bad stuff to happen, and then to see what your mindset is and how you handle that bad situation. Then when he brings you out of it, you'll see the good, and you'll see how God does it in a way that, one, you'll be able to have a testimony to give to people, which glorifies him, which is gonna win more souls, and two, it increases your faith in your relationship with God. The one thing that I love to talk about is God. I love just being able to conversate about him, and being able to talk to other people that experience God as well. And it's just a sense of togetherness when we talk about him, and people, they're like, okay, you know what you're talking about, because the only way that you can know that God is real is by going and doing the walk with him. And so that's why right now, even in my life, where I'm having that type of prayer that Cat Williams said, just like, hey God, I am leaning on you so hard for this business to work out, because if the business works out, it's going to create room for these other endeavors to pick up pace as well, which could really start to get things moving in a way that I could never dream or imagine, which means promises would have been kept. But I'm leaning on you, God, in a way that if this isn't successful, I'll look like the world's biggest crash out dummy. And I just don't believe that God would have me do all of this, have me create this page, have me take the leap of faith from a job, which I've now been self-employed. Like I said, next week will be a year. Look at this time. And just to fail. It would be so confusing to any and everybody that listens to me on here. It would just be that much more confusing. It's like, man, you could serve God, take the leap of faith like people say, and this and that, and then fail? I just don't believe that God would set me up and my son, because at that point now, the decision and consequences will be detrimental to him as well. I just don't believe that God would set me up for failure like that. I don't believe that God would have me look like a fool. And that is why I believe that something good is going to come from all of this that I am aspiring to do, because a lot of it, yes, I want to be successful because I want to do what I love to do, but also I just look at the impact that the success would have to the whole environment. I'm all about making an impact. I'm all about being a role model. I'm all about leading by example and being a trendsetter. That's just how my mindset is. I don't know why. But that's just how it is. I believe in trying to bring people up and saying, hey, this is possible. Hey, the people that you see on movie screens, they dealt with ridicule and uncertainty and failure as well. But look at them now. People are like, that's the dream job. You don't know what they went through to get there. Now, I'm not talking about all the negative stuff that's going on in the world. I'm looking at the time because I got to get back to work soon. But I'm looking at the people that are doing things the righteous way and that are reaping the rewards for being faithful and trusting God throughout the process of their come up. And that's why the aim of this video is for me to let you know that once you go and decide that, hey God, I'm giving my life to you and I'm going to do this walk, just expect the ups and downs of it. But you're going to grow so much as an individual. You're going to grow so much as a person that your mindset would be transformed. Trust me, a lot of success is 80% mindset, 20% talent. You can have all the talent in your world, but if you don't have the mindset to believe that you can be successful from it, it's just useless. But if you have the mindset and the belief, and then you're leaning on God, and like, hey, I could do this. I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm going to lean on God. You watch what starts to happen, because at that point, you have the necessary tools to make it. So the aim of this video is to encourage you to keep the walk, Keep going about the walk. If your situation isn't making any sense or it's not perfect, it's okay. Keep walking with God, and He's going to show you that everything that you're doing is for a purpose, and it's to prepare you for what you've been praying for. It's to mold you and prepare you while He's getting the promise together for you. God knows what He's doing. We just have to trust Him, believe in Him, and just wait and see. Trust, believe, wait, and see. So I hope this video has been a blessing. If you feel led to like, share, subscribe. That way you can continue on seeing the results of everything that I'm aspiring to do. And there's also me just being vulnerable about my walk with God. Definitely do so, because again, this page is going to be a blessing to people, not to me. I'm doing this out of faithfulness and out of obedience. And plus, I love talking to people. So I hope you all have a great day. Hope this video's been a blessing. Like I said, all these videos are to glorify God, not me. Otherwise, until next time.